Okay, not working on the S10 today. Just gonna do some light work because I got other stuff to do. But these heads, I'm gonna be porting and polishing them. These are the AFR 195s. These go on the 350 that will be going in the Nova. When it's done, I'll be taking the 427, the Dart 427 small block out of it, putting it in the S10, and then this 350 nitrous motor will be going in it. So these are the 190 AFR 195s. Good head, just like the 220s. Same head, same all parts, same valves. 210 or 210, 2.1 intake, 160 exhaust. Same valve, same everything, just smaller ports. So I'm opening them up to flow like the 220s. Or they might be a little bit, I don't know, they work good on the 427. I guess a bigger head would give it more power. So, but the 220s would be great on a, 550 horse 350. So I'm going to open these up to that. So basic head porting, it's easy. It's not very expensive, as long as you have a compressor. If you don't, you can even get an electric tool to do it. I've actually got one. I like using the air a little better. I don't know. It's a little easier for me, I guess. But anyway, so put the valve on the tool so I can just keep it wide open and adjust my speed from there. That makes it a little easier. Dike them. Get it at Summit. Order it online. Whatever. It's not expensive. Use it to mark your heads where your gasket. You're gonna lay your gasket on there and use a scribe to scribe out your gasket lines. Now you can do this on your intake and your head. That way you've got your port matching your intake to your head, and that's pretty important. You have an intake that's not ported to your head, and your head is smaller, then you have a lip that your air just runs into and hits and causes it to move around. It just messes things up. The smoother transition you can make into this, the better. Now you don't want to polish the intake ports because then the water droplets won't dissipate. So you want to leave them rough. The exhaust side, I polished them. I haven't done it yet, but here's a little. I've already done some of this head. That port is smooth. I'm going to get it a little smoother. Try to get more of a mirror finish on it, but only on the exhaust, not on the intake. So this is kind of, when you get done porting, this is kind of how it's going to look. Because these bits, man, they just chew it up. You got to be real careful with them. So this is the one that I use the most. I like it the best. They make them in all different shapes, sizes. You got this guy here, which is good around bowls. This guy here, it's really only good right there. And right there. That's about it. It's the only place that one's good because that sharp edge on top. That's why I use this one the most. It's pretty good anywhere in the whole port. Doesn't make a line in there when you're going because that round top. This guy here, it'll make a line in there across wherever you're going because of that straight edge on top of it. So I don't care for that one. But if you have long straight runners, like, it's good in the intake if you're gonna run it all the way down, which you don't really have to. But yeah, this is my guy right here, and they come 6 inches long. I think they come like this, and you're spinning them so fast, and they're only hooked right there. That small amount is what's holding it, so they tend to vibrate around. So I cut them down to about 3.5 inches long. With that, I can get to anywhere in the head It's long enough, and it doesn't vibrate around like that. It stays stable, and that's really important when you're using these things on aluminum, because it'll get away from you. They spin so fast, it'll take a freaking chunk out that'll be hard to fix. You know what I mean? Especially if you come out of here, which that ain't gonna hurt anything. That's not scratches. That's just kind of, you know, that's not from this. That's from the cartridge rolls. Not bad. But anyway, so I'll start off. I need my stand. Let's see here. I'll have it laid down, of course. I'm not gonna do it right now, but put the intake gasket on there, bolt it down like so. You'll have it bolted down, and then I'll use, you just need something sharp, something thin, strong, and sharp. I use this file. It's a flat-sided file with a nice tip on it. So when you have it in there, you'll just follow around your intake like that and scratch the dicum, and it'll give you, let's see here, see, it'll do like that. That'll be your mark. You'll take the gasket off once you've traced out your gasket on every port, and then put your bit in, and you'll start doing it, you know, start eating it up. But you got to go, don't put pressure on it. Not on aluminum heads. Don't put pressure on it. Let the tool do the work. Let the bit do the eating. Don't use pressure. Try to keep it as steady as possible. You'll just have to kind of to work with it and find your angles and do what's comfortable with you. It's my first time doing it. I screwed up a head, so be real careful. Again, let the tool do the work. It takes time. This is not something you can just go in there and do in an hour or two. This shit takes hours. Like to get a mirror port on the exhaust and get the and doing the whole ports, which a lot of people don't do the whole port. They do the first inch or two. That's all you need for port matching. But I'm trying to open these heads up. I'd say I probably have like 8 hours in this head, intake and exhaust. So it takes time. If you want to do this, be ready to put some work in, because you can't hurry it along. You can't press on it like you're drilling wood and get it done faster. You can't do that. You'll just tear it up. So be nice and easy. On one of these heads, actually, this head here, I went through, let's see, I think it was one of these ports right here. There's a bolt hole. Yeah, so that bolt hole right there, that comes right through here. That's why this is rounded, because there's a bolt hole right in there. Well, I went a little too far and made a little hole in there. I told my machinist about it. He's like, oh, I used to do that shit all the time. Doesn't matter. Put some epoxy on it, let it cure real good and hard, and then grind it down to where it'll flow. Let's see if we can even see where it was. See if we can even find it. Shit, there it is. So that right there is it. It's, you can't feel it at all. I can't feel the difference. I can't feel anything. So there was a hole there going into the bolt hole for right there. And I did what he said. I mixed some epoxy, not JB Weld, epoxy, because this is going to heat up. It's going to expand. It's aluminum. You don't want it. You don't want the aluminum expanding more than your patch. Otherwise, patches can fall out. So use epoxy. Turned out nice, real nice. I cannot feel it at all. If I wasn't seeing it, I wouldn't know it's there. So this is actually a little smoother than I care for it to be. I'll probably use some heavy grit cartridge roll and rough that back up a little bit. Just you want it to be nice in there, but see, like that right there, that's pretty good. I may even rough that up just a hair more, but that's good. You want it to be able to bust them water droplets up, but you still want it to maintain a nice smooth high air flowing surface. So it's kind of hard to get, you know, the two odd things from each other and bring them to a I don't know, to a equal point. But so you want smooth high flowing area, but you also want it rough. You know, what do you do there? So that's about how you want it. But like the exhaust and the bowls, you can tell the difference. Hold on. You can really tell the difference in the bowls. Hold on. I can't wait till my camera and tripod get here. Alright, so you tell the difference between the exhaust and the intake port bowls. One of them is nice and shiny. The other one is just kind of looks fresh, but it's not shiny because it's still a little rough in there. So water or fuel droplets will bust up. But that in there is baby's butt. And see, you tell the difference. Definitely tell the difference. This head turned out pretty good. I took a lot of material out too. Kind of busting through that one hole kind of showed me just how far I can go. And to help you get them equal, I'll take a piece of wire and bend it into a kind of a box at the end and make it the size of a port that I'm happy with, or a first port, and then run it in there. Make two of them. Make one to go this way and one to go that way, and then use it to measure all your runners. Try to make them the same. You want them to be as even as possible. You don't want any cylinder getting different mixture, different anything than the other cylinders. You want to make it all as much the same as possible. There's not really a whole lot to it. Just be careful. Let the tool do the work. Some more tools that I use with it. Okay, cartridge rolls. Once you have dug out what you want dug out with these bits here, I've used all kinds of cartridge rolls, and all of them freaking come apart almost immediately on me, except for these. Never guessed it, but these cheap Summit ones, they stay together. They do not come apart. They come with mandrels, little short guys. I've got longer mandrels. This long sucker here to get in tight places or long places. That came with the cheap Harbor Freight ones I've got here. I've also, no, I didn't cut that one. I got a shorter one. But so I use the Summit cartridge rolls for directly after porting to get rid of that hacked up look, to get it smoothed down, because they're kind of rough. You can get them, I think, 120 grit and all the way down to 80 grit. So I'll use the 80 grit to hit right after porting, get it smoothed out, and then I'll use the cheap Harbor Freight ones that come apart on me, but they do real good job at smoothing the surface out and making it nice and smooth. And then once I get done with that, on the exhaust side, once I get it as smooth as I can possibly get it with cartridge rolls, then I'll move to these guys. And these guys are what give it that finish. These is just like a scouring pad, but for sanding and polishing. These, I think I ordered them on eBay. I got an 80 piece kit, and it's got different grits. I think it was like 15 bucks for an 80. And probably not even that much. I don't really remember. I could look and check, but I'm doing a video. So, these things work great. They don't last forever. They don't last very long at all. You probably use one or two a port. Especially if they last longer, the less pressure you put on them. Because you put a lot of pressure on them, they'll go down. So, you got your one that you start off with. I don't really remember the order. But I think, one of them softer, one of them, goes up. So you want to start with the stiffest one and then work your way down to a mirror polish. Then you can actually, if you want absolute mirror chrome look in there or on the outside or anywhere on aluminum, you can do the rouge polishing in there. I found a small round polishing bit at Harbor Freight, which I got. I didn't bring it out here though. And it's a rouge style, so it will make it perfectly mirror finish, which nobody needs to do that, but I'm gonna try it on my exhaust side, just to try and keep any carbon buildup from happening. I know it won't stop it completely, but it'll help. So that's me porting and polishing heads. Hopefully this will help out somebody, where to get stuff, what's the best things to use that I've found. This is just a 1206 Fel-Pro intake gasket that I use on my intake side. I use the copper header gaskets. I use that to scribe my exhaust side. It's pretty big. Let's see. Harbor Freight. This is Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight. Summit for the mandrel, or for the cartridge rolls, they actually hold together. Any other ones I've ever used come apart before the sanding, before the grit is even worn. So these do not. And they're not very expensive. Harbor Freight cartridge rolls, they will come apart on you, but they're cheap. So your choice there. And these guys, to get any aluminum down to a freaking shiny ass finish. And don't forget your Dykem. I guess that's about it. Just the work. Not much more to it than the work. Just be careful. Let the tool do the work. Don't really apply pressure. And take your time. And it's gonna take time. So, I guess that's it.